Welcome to One Stroke with Mark. Today I'm going to paint a floral arrangement on the canvas that I've pre-prepared using the sponge painters, and I've used butter pecan, white and a touch of gilded oak in the corners for some warmth. I'm going to start by just laying out some basic ferns for my floral arrangement. Just start laying the stems out first. It's only rough, it's only definite here, so, and then I'm just going to add the ferns on. Most of these are going to be covered when I finish, but it's just for the placement, so my arrangement looks correct. Again, these are very simple leaves, just push and slide. And I'm using a 3/4 flat brush because it holds lots of paint. And if anything, I've got some dry edges, I'll just go back over and redo it. Yeah. And I'm going to continue with those. And for this kind of fern, the leaves are kind of directly opposite each other along the stem. And need some more paint. And keep going until you've got enough on there. As I said, a lot of this will be covered up when I do my final arrangement, but for now it just helps me with the placement of all the main elements. Okay, top there, and here, oops, more paint. And you always need more paint with one stroke. The only bit of German I ever remember is mehr Farben, which is more paint. One of my German students taught me that. So it's always the same, always more paint. If you've ever tried one stroke and you haven't had any success, it's usually because you haven't used enough paint. And also, floating medium helps you a lot on canvas because it's very textured, and so it tends to soak up your paint. And don't worry about allowing things to cross over each other, because in nature they would. Okay, now we're going to move on to the floral elements. Once we've got our ferns in there, then we want to start putting in the floral elements. So, again, I'm using a 3/4 brush, double loaded with burgundy, white and a touch of yellow on the white side. I'm just going to lay in these wiggle strokes in a circle. Okay. Now this one's a little bit too yellow, so I'm going to pick up more paint, a little bit more white just to soften that somewhat. And there's the first circle. And don't worry about picking up a little bit of green, because in nature you would see reflections of leaves on the flower petals, so that's not a problem. So I'm also going to now put in some buds as I've got the colour on my brush. So just lay in a few strokes for some buds that I'll complete later. And let's have another one over here. These can be different. You can vary the size of these because obviously some of them would be more open than others. So they're just some simple strokes like we did with the leaves to represent the flower buds. Put another one there so it looks a little bit more open. And another one over there. And with our ferns, we can always come in and add a bit more if we want to later on. And another one up there. The basic stroke I'm using here is exactly the same as the leaf, but I'm just layering a few on top of each other to make them look like a flower. And another one there. And again, some of these might be covered up partially when I put my main leaves in, but that's okay. When we pick up the green, we can just wipe our brush to pick up the green colour for our main leaves, because if that burgundy colour is left in the brush, it just gives you a bit an added accent. So, and now we're going to put a wiggle leaf in there. Same kind of thing as the flower. We'll just extend it to make it look like a leaf. Okay. And my first side doesn't show up very well, so I'm going to come back and repaint that. Okay. That's the first one. And another one here. Always putting the stem into each leaf as you do them, because you want the stem to go into the leaf while it's wet, because otherwise it looks like it's sat on top of the leaf instead of being part of it. And again, don't worry about overlapping things, because if you were making a floral arrangement, you would overlap leaves and flowers. Now we need to attach the buds into our main, where our main flower is. So we'll use the chisel edge of the brush to add a calyx onto them, bring a stem down. And I'm not going all the way down because I'm going to fill in with more things here. But I just need to put the stem in before I put the filler flowers in, because it's much easier to do it now than wait till later and try and add them in later. This one's open a bit more, so another one there. And again, I picked up some other colour, but that's fine. Quite often you'll see some of these red colours in stems, so that's okay. We want to see some variation in the colours we're using, and that way you get lots of variations by just using a fairly simple palette of colours. And it looks like you worked a lot harder to get all those colours. Okay. And one more there. Okay, so we've got our main stems in there. Now I'm going to change to a smaller brush and add some smaller leaves in there. Again, I'm using the same green. It's thicket in this case, some white and some yellow light on the white side. And we want to just add some groups of leaves in there. You might want to add something else in there to differentiate between the fern leaves and the leaves we're painting now. And again, with leaves you can always add more later, once you've put your filler flowers in. And we also like to add some shadow leaves and things in there as we go through, but they come in at the end. And if you don't know what shadow leaves are, I will explain that when I do them. Okay. A couple more of these. Each time you see me move the brush away from the canvas, I'm picking up more paint or changing brushes. Okay. And a little more of that. And again, always putting those stems in as you paint the leaves. Okay, and a few more at the top. And again, I can always come back in and add some more when the rest of my filler flowers are in there. Okay, quite pleased with that so far. And now we're going to use change brushes again, smaller brush this time. And we're going to use Violet Pansy and white. Okay, and we can do lots of different types of filler flowers, but for now I'm just going to do some real simple, little simple strokes to represent a flower. And if you've ever done wildflowers with one stroke, the same basic thing. Just simple, touch, lean, pull strokes. Okay, and again we're going to be picking up some of the other colours that are in there from the layers we've already painted. That's okay, it looks natural like that. And let's add some more. And the thing with one stroke, it's quick and easy. You're watching this in real time, and you can see how quickly you can get something together that hopefully looks something. And obviously on a smaller project, like a greetings card or a scrapbook page, you can do it even quicker. And one of the main things about anything like this is colours. If your colours look right together, the flowers can become almost, it doesn't really matter what kind of flowers they are, but if the colours look right, then it will give you a pleasing effect. Okay. And I think for now that's probably enough of those. I mentioned a little while ago about leaves that are shadow leaves. What we do with those is use the colour we've had on the brush and just wipe off the main colour, pick up some floating medium, and then we start adding some leaves in to give us this kind of watercolour-y shadow type effect. It just adds a bit of extra something to the design. And again, we're picking up some other colours. If we pick up some green, it doesn't matter. And just keep adding those as needed. I still haven't done the centre of the main flower, but that's coming next. So, in this instance, I want that to dry completely. And you can add some into the design in different places. This is just a way of adding extra fullness to your design without a lot of heavy strokes. We can even add some on top of our leaves. And there. Okay, now for the centre. And this time I'm using a scruffy brush. I'm going to pick up some thicket, white and yellow. And I'm going to scruffy that centre in there. Okay. So it looks like I see things are going on in there. And then with the script liner and some inky thicket, I'm going to add some stamens coming from the centre of that flower. And this is something you do really quickly, and I tell a lot of my students, painting is usually easier if you don't think about it. And so we add those stamens in there, pull in some of the colour from the centre, and I'm going to come back in and add some yellow dots to the ends of those stamens. And you're not worrying about this, you're just picking the paint up and just dabbing little dots in along the line of those, the end of those statements. We can come back in with some white and add some more in there to kind of highlight. And that's that. Now back to our inky green. One of the hardest things for many people is to add curlicues. And curlicues are done with a script liner, lots of inky paint, and then you bring them from the stem. Just add some, you want a very light touch to add some curls coming out, and just adds a bit of airiness to the design. And of course the very last thing you do on any project is sign it. So it's always important to sign your work so everybody knows it was you that painted it. And just add those in there. And our signature at the bottom. And it's done.